welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. I'm your host, Matt Clark, or Gray Skeptic, and I'm here with Nacho Witness, and he's behind the scenes. We will have Christy Santiago. She's dealing with a couple technical difficulties currently, and if you know anything, you probably know that Christy and I are not very tech savvy. So she'll be here in like 2 minutes or in like 2 hours, and it'll be great. It'll be fine. Let's get into the stuff, the things, the quick updates, LEAH quickies, whatever you want to call them. So I wanted to touch base on a couple of things this week. First thing is some good news. Yeah, I'm starting with good news. Everyone take a drink. And all right, Zara K is free, and she's been free for a while, but she's home. She's in a much less hostile place now. For those of you who don't know or remember, Zara K, who is a human rights atheist activist, she was arrested on December 28th of 2020, and she was only kept, I don't remember how long she was kept, but it wasn't long that she was held in custody. But when the police arrested her, they held her for 36 hours, and they confiscated her belongings and her Australian passport, and they lost her passport. Allegedly lost her passport. I guess, I don't know. Sounds pretty shady to me, but yeah, let me recap a couple things other than that. Oh, I don't have my recaps up anymore. Well, she was detained for 32 hours, and they did say that they lost her passport, which was never found. And the reason she was arrested, at least from what we know at first, was she was reported for blasphemy. Also, she was like, they were going to charge her for posting political satire about the country's leader. She didn't get any charges stuck to her, but they did take her passport and never give it back. So she was stuck in Tanzania, where she was receiving death threats and rape threats often enough. And she is finally home in Brisbane, Australia. And that just happened, I think, 2 days ago. So I don't know. Congratulations, fantastic. This is good news. And if you guys haven't heard that yet, go on Facebook and go check out Zara's Facebook. She's on there. She's active, and it's here. And just say welcome home. You know, just tell her that you're glad that she's back and she's safe. I'm sure she'd appreciate it. So, all right, that's the first thing that I wanted to let everyone know. Like I said, good news, and I had actual good news. Check that out. Let's see, we have... all right, the stimulus. The stimulus for here in the States. It passed the House of Representatives with the $1,400 checks and the $15 minimum wage attached to it. And the Senate hasn't passed the Senate yet, but the Senate, if I can say it right, the Senate parliamentarian, she said that this can't be passed with a budget reconciliation bill, and another way as well, which is great and all, because that person has no real power. Um, as an advisory position, and Biden is taking it as like, this advisor trumps the president, so it looks like we can't have a $15 minimum wage. And it looked like for days the fight was going to end there until just the last 24 hours or so. Bernie Sanders is starting to push back a bit and say, well, I'm going to force a vote on this bill in the Senate, and you all best vote for it. I'm not changing it. We're leaving the $15 minimum wage in there. This is a must-have. So go Bernie Sanders. This is great coming from him right now. I'm happy to see it. I'm really upset that we haven't seen it from almost anyone else. AOC's spoken up a little bit, saying that this is basically bullshit from the Biden administration, and that like Kamala Harris needs to use her position as VP to be that overriding vote and just kind of override the parliamentarian and say, well, that's cool, nice advice, fuck you, we're doing it, because she can't do that. It's really easy. If you want an example of when this happened back in 2000 during the Bush administration, and I can't remember why. I wish I had it for you. Wish Christy was here, because she usually fills in all my blanks. But sorry, you guys have half blank Mac right now. That said, this isn't hard. This is just another thing that isn't hard for us to do, and the squad can really push this. Blank Mac, half blank Mac sounds like a porn name. Haha. Thanks, Nacha. I know I read that out loud. Half blank Mac. Anyways, yeah, it's really disappointing to see how easy it was going to be to make the Biden administration, along with the Senate, just roll over on the $15 minimum wage. What makes this extra shitty, there's going to be a lot of extra shitty on this one, so just strap in, hold on to the extra shitty, is that this is the only thing that Biden took from Bernie Sanders' campaign that he went and ran on. And there is a video out yonder where it just has all the times that Biden mentioned a $15 minimum wage, because he ran on it. He said that I believe in this. This is a no-brainer. The people need it. Look, man, people need it. We need to have a $15 minimum wage. It's long overdue. And I mean, he's right, but he didn't believe it. If he believed it, he wouldn't roll over. He is the president of the United States. And Joe Manchin says that he's not going to vote for this stimulus package, this $1.9 trillion stimulus package with the $1,400 checks to every person that is eligible, but we'll get back to that. It's so shitty. Like this, he could push Joe Manchin by calling him up and being like, hey, I have a better favorability rating than you do right now. It basically doubles his. I think Joe Manchin's is like in the 30s and Joe Biden is in the 60s. And just like, hey, we could just like, I could go to your state and just help primary you starting this year, unless you vote for this bill. I have more power and popularity than you do, and this is an important bill, and I need your backing on it. So I can be your worst enemy or I can be your best friend. Vote for Joe. And I'm sure we would have something more like that if we had a Bernie Sanders president that was competent and didn't bend over backwards for the rest of the Democratic Party. But neither is he our president, and he's been doing a lot of backbending recently. So we only get so much. Right now, with this, with just the stimulus, like checks, just the checks. This is the other annoying thing. Yes, I have complained. This was supposed to be a $2,000 check for every American because that's what they promised in Georgia, right? That's how they won Georgia during the election. But as soon as they won, they're like, well, yeah, totally gonna get you up to that 2,000. I mean, you guys already started at that 600 that Trump gave you, and so we're gonna add that 1,400 on top of that, and that's $2,000, right? We did the math for you before, don't you remember? Take a drink. But so that was rollback number one. Rollback number two was, look, I know we said we'd get to this right away. It's like first day in office, first week. It'll be one of the first things, don't you worry. It'll be March. It'll be sometime in March. You'll have these stimulus checks. Cool. All right. Some people are starving and like getting kicked out of their homes now. Doesn't matter. Also, it's winter and people are cold. But anyways, strike three here. We're going to means test it. I don't remember what the cap was. I think it was about $150,000. If you bring home $150,000, then you don't get this stimulus check. You don't get less of it. You don't get any of it. You don't get any of it. And that is, well, they don't want rich people getting the money. And there are many issues with not giving people who are middle income the money, or higher middle income, whatever. I don't know how. It kind of depends on where you are, on how much you make actually being like middle class or lower class or higher class. But the issue is not just that, depending on where you are, but also we're going off old tax returns, right? So the income level that the government is basing this off of can be pre-COVID. People are hurt by what's that going on again? The pandemic, COVID, right? We're in a COVID economy. We're in like a depression because, not because of COVID, but because of our economic choices being exacerbated by COVID-19. People need help now. Like anyone who doesn't need that money, who really doesn't need that money, it's actually easier to not means test it and tax them on it later. Also, we could make corporations pay their fair share in taxes, and we wouldn't be in this predicament. There's a lot of things that we could do if we had a better tax system. That said, that was strike three. Hold on, there's another one. We have means tested the stimulus check even more. Now it's anyone who makes $80,000 singly, or $160,000 when filing jointly. If you make $80,000 a year, or you did back on these tax returns that they're basing them off of, then you don't get any of the money. Again, it's not that you don't get all of it, because you don't need all of it. It's no, you don't get any of it. So if you have been unemployed for the last year and a quarter because of COVID, or just the last year, right? I don't mean to be too hyperbolic, just about the past year now. And you need the stimulus money. Well, if your last tax return says that you make $80,000 a year, well, then you don't get any. I'm sorry, man. You don't need it, man. Poor people need it. I mean, I know you don't have any money, or you lost your high-paying job and now you only make $30,000 a year, and you're at risk of losing your house. We're just really trying to make sure that people who are making $80,000 a year and who are living well off of that don't get any money, because they don't need it. And I'm sorry that throws you under the bus, but some people need to be like run over by the bus, because people are good traction for buses. Who knew? Take a drink. I need an extra drink because I talked about running over people's buses. It's fine. It's great. This is America. So yeah, that all said. That was strike 4. As far as I'm concerned, Biden administration is out just on the checks alone. I didn't give them any strikes for the $15 minimum wage. That was just the baseline. If we don't get this through, one is bullshit. 2, if we do get this through and we don't get any other checks through, guess what Donald Trump can say in 3 years when he's trying to run for the Republican candidate or a third-party candidate? Well, the Democrats don't do anything. They didn't even want to give you stimulus checks. I gave you more in stimulus check money than the Biden administration and the dirty Democrats did. And that would be true. That would absolutely be true. He gave us $1,200, then $600. That's $1,800. And I mean, I know the kids got less. The dependents did. They got $600 from the $1,200, but it's still too even. Like, I was actually pretty certain when Biden was saying, look, we're going to give everyone $2,000 checks as soon as we are elected. I thought that was going to be a thing because it is politically very, very smart to do. Very smart to do. I'm just like, well, yeah, totally. Like, could someone ask me, what do you think about these checks? I think Biden's full of shit. I'm like, no, hold on. The Democrats are going to want to swoop in. They're going to want to handle the pandemic like 10 times better. And they're going to want to give people stimulus checks so they can be the heroes. I mean, they've already like screwed people over at least twice in 2020 over the stimulus checks, just trying to make sure Trump doesn't get the credit for it. But now that they'd be in power, no, they would totally give, the full $2,000 checks. And they might even give more. I mean, because that helps people vote for them. I was wrong. And that sucks. Not that I was wrong, just what I was wrong on sucks. Because it really is so politically savvy to give like a UBI or just a relief check. I haven't been able to read all of the chat down here. Beelzebub. And here I am saying bullshit to all of Biden's promises because I knew he didn't have the fortitude to put up a fight for what would make lives actually better. Well, yeah, I agree. And he also said that the last he heard it was 75K for the cap. He might be right. I didn't take notes. I listened to a lot um, the last few days, and I thought I just had it all up here in the steel trap. The steel trap has dents in it. It's whatever. It's a little leaky too, but yeah, it's point is they means tested it, and then they means tested it again, and really the better way to go about it is give it to everyone because it's not hard to do. It's expedient that way. And then you have a much higher likelihood of no one bitching about it because everyone got it. And if you are worried about saving that money for people who need it, then again, you can tax those who really didn't need it at the end of the year for it. You can do that. That'd be easier. Make it more like a loan. And I hate that. I don't want that. I'm trying to point out the better ways. And Robert X, to everyone, even billionaires, yes. Yes, and like I said, I would want them to get taxed back on it, but for for it to be expedient, for it to hurry up and get into the people's hands that need it, just give it to everyone. You can put a provision in there that everyone who doesn't need it, gets taxed to this $2,000 back at the end of the year. There's different ways to go about it, right? Anything's better than what we have right now. They said in January. It is March. I'm just mad. I'm just mad because it really isn't this hard. It's just not this hard. But they gotta act like it is. This isn't the best things to not means test at all. But when it takes this long, it just needs to not be means tested. If this was a UBI that we were getting, like Canada, $2,000 a month for basically everybody, you could means test it better. Like each month, you could tweak it. But we don't have every month. We just need to get this to people like fast, like really fast, because a lot of people are depending on it. I know I need it, and I'd be okay without it, but it would be really helpful for multiple reasons right now. Not just because of COVID, but just because, like, again, we're kind of living in a depression, at least in a recession, and people need help. We need it in this economy. But yeah, it's really, really sad that this is what we get with the Democratic Party. In other news, which leads up to the thing that I wanted to just lead into, we have Neera Tanden not stepped down, rescinded her nomination, if I'm using the right terminology, for the OBM, I think, for the Office of Budget and Management. And that's because she was not going to get it. She didn't have the votes. And she wrote a nice open letter saying that, and she's She sees it's basically not going anywhere, and she wants the Biden administration to focus on its other priorities and not to worry about her so much. Also, the Biden administration said that they're going to put her somewhere else in the administration. So don't you worry, we're still going to have Neera Tanden somewhere in the Biden administration, and it's just great. It's peachy keen. She really is one of the worst of the worst, and if she's somewhere else in the Biden administration, it'll be better than her being OBM. Sorry if I'm ruining the acronym. She does not need to be in budget and management. She has like the perfect resume to not be in that position. So that's also good news. And I'm really glad that she's not in there. Let me see real quick. Do we know if we're getting Christy Nacha? Because I didn't have a whole lot more to go into tonight. I have a little more, but not a lot more. Okay. What else do we got here? We have well, the one thing I was going to talk about, I forgot, guys. Sorry, take a drink. Well, I will go into a little bit of our own news, and then I'll go back on my own little personal rant about what I don't like about the Biden administration and how they don't fight for anything except shitty things like Neera Tanden. We are going to be changing not quite the format of our show, but the schedule of our show. We'll be going to fortnightly live shows starting after next week. So we'll have a normal show next week. And then after that, we may post some clips, some shorter clips on our off weeks. But after that, like every 2 weeks, we'll have a normal live show with all your like normal larger topics. And we're hoping that maybe we get some of these little updates and just our shorter topics out in like a smaller format that you can view either throughout the week or just on those off Fridays or off weekends. And before I get too far ahead of myself, I'll just read down the line. We'll have weekly uploads, still on opposite fortnight, but not live shows. Shorter single topic videos. Yes, as I said. And number 3, regular hashtag shorts, giving updates and previews of upcoming topics. And we have Christy.
Yay,
say hi, Christy.
finally.
And put your camera down a little bit.
I'm lucky it turned on.
I wanted to see your neck.
I'm sorry?
I said I wanted to see your neck.
Yeah, it's up all the way. I can barely hear you. My volume is as high as it'll go. So.
Oh no, that's fine.
Hey. Hey.
Well, welcome to the show, Christy Santiago.
Let's see if I can find it on my phone so I can say hi in chat.
There you go. I'll finish with our channel updates real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
This is our our own personal commercial. We'll hopefully have a few interviews coming soon. And I think Christy has a few in her back pocket, so we'll talk about those later. And the second number 4 on the list is we want to really push for for getting our first 1,000 subscribers. That would be amazing. I think we're at like 769 right now. So we need a little over 200 more to get to our 1,000 goal. And I would really love to see us get there before summertime. That would be amazing. So anything you guys can do to help get us there, that would be amazing. If you guys can share the links on Twitter or on Facebook or anywhere you use social media as a verb, that would be amazing. If you guys can just share the links, hashtag things we talk about. Like down below, we always have our hashtags, hashtag LEAH podcast, hashtag CPAC, and hashtag Biden. If you can put the hashtag LEAH podcast and all the things that we discuss, if you hashtag anything else related, that would help us a lot. Use hashtags, they help us, and that helps us help you, because we talk about things that we talk to you about. So yeah, please help us if you like and want to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Makes us feel good watching the numbers go up and seeing you guys here live. Having views after the live show is also very helpful. That's why we keep them up on YouTube. We don't just do live shows. But I love seeing the live chat lively. I like to see a lot of people in it. We have 15 people watching now. Sometimes we have over 20, over 30, and it's really great. Like, I really love seeing people converse down below. I don't always get time to actually jump in and talk to you guys too. But I do check the live chat often, and I appreciate seeing that people are conversing. I like that. So
Yeah. This might not be an adversarial group or channel. However, if you have a question that challenges anything we say, I promise you that Mac, our producer, and myself will not let anyone bully you because you feel different. We want to hear those questions, even if we disagree afterwards. It has nothing to do with, what the end results we all want. So it's important to understand each other's differences. And no one wants to live in an echo chamber. I mean, they're fun for like 15 seconds, but after you get done going, hello, and saying cuss words and hearing them, I mean, there's only so many things you can do, and then it would get boring. So we need all of you here. I may have a neighbor, Boris, who is Socrates' father. Hi, if you're here, and I'm very happy. I was walking Mr. Bean. He lives in here. He was like, what are you doing? He was having conversation, and I said, I really can't. I have my show tonight. And that was it. He was like, how do you spell it? I will be there. So if he is, hi, this is my co-host, Mac. Our producer, Natcha. You can't hear him because, he's professional. Even if we try to goad him into it, maybe for my birthday, I'll get some of that 16. I can't even do his thing. I can't. You guys have heard that voice. Do I need to, I mean, nobody can be that. And it's Australian. So it's wonderful.
That always
All helps. I did let him know was that we have lots of topics tonight. Now, we do have shows like this once in a while where it's just like, you know what, so much news has happened. Let's just cover the news. And N-O-O-Z, news. There is a lot. I don't think that there is any way any one channel could cover all of the things that are going on just in 1 week. I do want to say that I have a lot to learn, and I love when Natcha says, hey, I don't agree with you, and here's why. Like policies that are going down in his country. I need that because I'm hearing this, which I'm like, okay. And then I'm hearing this and I'm like, okay, well, that's obviously not true. So I don't have anything. I have to make up my own mind, or I need more facts. That's the one I go for. I need more facts. There is the Australian government saying certain things to these huge media conglomerates that need to be dismantled. And I was very curious as to, what he thought about it. I still have much to learn about it. Reading their bills, the way that they write bills is different than ours, and I was more confused than afterwards. I really don't know what they're trying to accomplish in it and what they're trying to stop. So I know that's not the topic we're on, but that is one big one, or I should say minor one that we're going to cover. So if any of you guys want to add anything about Australia and media and Facebook and the laws, if you know anything about that and what that adds up to, that's one thing. CPAC, you're welcome. We're going to touch on that. There's a couple more. Mac has a good one coming for you guys.
Oh, mine are all done.
You did all of them? Okay. Well, then awesome.
I just had a bunch of quick updates, and I drew them out for 30 minutes. So
okay. So we'll just start with CPAC.
Right into CPAC, yeah.
Before I say, let's see if we can get this in good. Can you guys see like mold and like more mold and
what is that?
Black mold? Okay, this is a Christmas letter that we sent Nacha Witness via Nervardia, and I just got it back yesterday or the day before.
Aww.
And it says nobody did anything wrong. The facility uses mechanized equipment to process most of this mail. Occasionally damage occurs. This may be due to malfunction of the machines or because an article was not properly sealed. It's still sealed. So it's not that. Or that it had bulky material. Well, if I would have fit in here, I would have mailed myself to Australia. So there was no bulky material in there. Okay, yes. Okay, so Mara is okay. Well, I don't want to send you black mold. Apparently that kills us. So, although this is kind of funny, and maybe I'll spray it with something that kills. I don't even know. It would ruin the card. I don't know. It's a comedy show in its own. However, this has traveled further and farther than Mac and I ever have.
Yes, it has.
And it has the scars to show it. So awesome. All right. So CPAC. Watching myself making myself watching that. I thought I could just bang it out, and I couldn't. I couldn't.
You just have to bang it harder, Christy.
That's how tech breaks. I felt like I was at a youth camp that was really trying to make sure every single kid in there got as indoctrinated as they could be. They talked about God and, what's missing from democratic, conversations and from when they do these conventions is I hear no mention of God and God in families and, how children benefit from having God in their life. Something like that. Probably not the last part, although probably the last part.
Depending if Ted Cruz is talking or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that we're going to play Fuck, Marry, Kill at the end of this. I just wanted you to know.
Oh, man.
And you're not going to like it.
No,
but
I'm not.
Our fans are going to love it.
Yeah, they are.
You guys can enter names, Fuck, Marry, Kill, but I've got 3 picked. But if I like them better than my own, I will steal them from you. And I won't give you any credit. Just kidding. Anyone can see it in the chat. I will definitely give you credit. Just a little bit, though. Okay, so I do have to say there is a massive statue built for Trump. And many, not all, no blanket statements here, are saying that it's not the CPAC, it's the TPAC, the Trump blah, 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 blah convention. And at first hearing that, I thought, no. And then watching it, yes. He doesn't even have to start a third party. It's already, if the Republicans want to be the Republicans, they are going to have to start a third party. It was almost watching a dystopian, really bad, very low budget film that never ended the convention part. Like, where's the movie part coming? Yes, Mr. Mac.
Was it just like Fox News? Like, because I noticed when I watch Fox News, it looks like their production is like B-rated. Is
Yes.
it kind of like, yeah?
Yes, it's like the Killer Tomatoes. Yeah, stuff like that.
Like,
So,
like they're just like a step over us. There's like, they're not trying to put us down, but like
production level wise, yes,
they should be
they
doing
have
better than us.
money to not look that way, right?
Yeah. You guys can do better.
They can.
Right?
Well, just like there are very, very conservative right-wing comedians, and once in a great while, one is funny. It does happen. I know that was a blanket statement, but I stand by it in comedy. I could be wrong, and I want to be. So if you guys know someone who is super conservative but is really funny and isn't offended by words, you know, if his jokes are okay on others, but if they were to come back on him, he would be upset, then I'm not going to be interested in him. But okay, point taken. One after another was for Trump. And this big golden statue, I'm sure most of you have seen it, was set up like a cult where people came to praise their idol and take pictures with their idol, which if they read their Bible, that, you know, not he's not Jesus. However, you shall have no idols before me. And they're kind of having an idol before him. Oh, Mac wants to do it. Do it, Mac.
I have a question. Was Trump the golden calf?
He had a golden toilet. His calves were meaty and pasty.
Oh, his calves were meaty.
Although his statue was golden. Right. Yes.
Just like
and I think why they made the statue shorter and fatter was so that the hands looked more appropriate.
That's really funny. That was
that
was good.
So like, let's start with the hands.
I love a tiny hands joke.
Fix it. I do too. Although Melissa McCarthy, when she played Sean Spicy, do you remember that in 2016 on SNL? She would ride the podium through the people. She pulled out Barbie and she was like walking through the airport and she's fine, let her in. And Moana comes out, oh, she's going to have to be frisked. And then she pulls out a moose and a lamb and she was like, and the moose lambs, they're definitely not getting in. They need to be. Yeah, anyway, that's what that reminded me of. Moose lambs. So moose lambs will be funny for me forever. Because how can you be mad at moose lambs? It's adorable. I do want to say that, and I've been saying it, you guys have heard me say it, I really believe this. We're living in two completely different Americas. I mean, just not the same country. And these people of both sides reside in the same areas. Not in the same exact neighborhood or the same street necessarily, which is possible and I'm sure happens often. I live in a very diverse area where there's people of all of that. However, there are many swaths of the forgotten people who my empathy, I sent you something earlier. It was ex-QAnon. It was Karens. Remember Target Karen who threw things off the shelves because the dingo got her baby or something?
That was one of the first things that I watched this morning, actually.
Right.
Before you sent it to me. It was pretty wild.
It is. And the old me definitely would have thought, these fucking idiots, how can they not see? And I did have a couple moments where I was like, oh, how could they not see? However, I want to propose something to you guys. I used to believe dumb shit. I used to believe in magical thinking and that There was a Sky Daddy that would help me get out of a jam, get out, oh God, I'm getting pulled over. Please, God, don't let me, like those things. That's not ignorant thinking. That's indoctrination. And I was a victim to indoctrination, and I don't feel like a victim anymore. And I don't hold that as my identity. However, who better to talk to? People who are either in a cult, getting ready to leave, or having doubts, or have left a cult. Most people, especially on the left, not the real left, not leftist, on the corporate left side of the one coin, this I want to say generation of people, which would be kind of mostly true, but it's also a blanket statement. There are many boomers who do not believe like this. However, that would just write them off. You idiots. They really believe that Biden wears a mask all the time because it's not really him, because it's, okay, hold on. This is dead ass serious, because it's Trump in Biden's suit.
It's Trump
Okay.
in a Biden suit.
I'll wait while you guys get your giggles or gasps out, because it's for real. And it yes. Now, one of the women in almost tears said, she just wasn't equipped. She is angry. So are us leftists. We have that in common. The area that they live in is just losing more and more money, becoming either gentrified, or the houses are being all blocked up. So they're angry for that. The school is saying, listen, we can't afford to stay open because there's all these magnet schools, and because of the way Betsy DeVos had programs and policies set up, the money goes to the child, not the school. And if that child leaves, so does the money. So we're going to have to shut this school down, which means all those impoverished kids who already were struggling now have to wake up an hour and a half to 2 hours or more earlier to travel further. It's just one big mess. I feel that anger, and I think that we have way more in common than we do different, even and especially with ex-QAnon believers. And who better to reach out to them than the skeptical community? We, not all of us, but many people like Shannon and Anthony Magnabosco and Dan from Truth Wanted. These are brilliant people who would be curious to know what they know and how they thought, because we're talking about ex-QAnon, and how they thought they knew it was true. The answer to that is, and I've found over and over again, is that's what we were trying to find out. Like, we were on this quest. We didn't know it was wrong, but you're coming from a group of people that when you say, how do you know it's true? Their immediate answer is, how do you know it's not true? Which is not how you logic. I know that now. And that's just not taught. So, we're not going to win them all. And maybe don't come at them as, I'm from an atheist community. Just like street epistemology, you don't put your feelings and your ideology and your opinions out there. You're having you're asking Socratic questions. And if you feel them start getting uncomfortable, say, hey, let's pick this up next time. I love that. And I think that as being one of the people in a massively huge skeptical community, that I would want to reach out to all of you, and for every 10 of you, there might be one that is going, you might have a point there, Chris. Let's show some empathy. They're just humans who are finding their way out of, Smitty said something to me a week or two ago when we were talking, and he's like, wait, you just came out like 3 years ago or as atheist? Like, whoa, that you've come so far. And I'm pretty impressed. Imagine people who were at the point in their life where they had time to spend searching through all these documents of QAnon, if they had the tools to go, okay, first of all, let's pick 5 of those and fact check them. If they're not true, then let's not say this site is true. Like, just basic things like that, they would learn and have the support of the skeptical community. And meanwhile, letting them know you have no obligation to join a skeptical community. However, we would just like to have conversations with you. And there are street epistemology videos where that method is used to people who are in QAnon on YouTube right now, and it is done how it should be. You walk away as both, well, not the person doing the video, but the interlocutor is walking away going, you've given me something to think about. Not changing their mind, but you could tell those pauses where they're thinking. Don't interrupt those. Let them be. Let that cognitive dissonance set in. And if it is longer and they can't come up with an answer, end it. End it. Say, you know what? I'm gonna leave it there. Here's my number. You know, you can ask me questions next time. If you guys, and I'm saying you guys as in the people who came before us, who Mac and I were able to let go of magical thinking because of having a community that just enveloped us. Like, oh, you have questions? Let me answer them for you. Actually, here's my answers. Here's the sources that I got them, but here's somebody else's that I like and don't necessarily 100% agree with. Read both of them. I appreciate that you guys did that for us. And if we don't pay that forward, I don't know. I know we're not supposed to. It's not our obligation to. However, I want to add, I feel like it is my obligation not to tell somebody they're wrong, not to say, I cannot believe you believe that crazy banana dumpster fire. Don't get me wrong. This part of my brain right here is going, say it. But the rest of my brain is going, okay, yes, okay, comedian. It's funny. However, it's not that time and no one's paying to hear you talk. So shut that down and be nice.
Also, I mean, like,
go ahead.
Also, you can, if you think about it and you try to be empathetic, you can relate, right? Or you can say, oh, I've been exactly there.
Right.
Right.
And I have. Okay,
patience.
I will tell you guys something so fucking bananas crazy about me. Losing religion, still have magical thinking. There's still something out there. I'm still praying. However, it's not the Bible because, I mean, obviously, I've had 2 kids and neither of them were immaculate conception. And I just started thinking. I started using my own brain. I didn't know what was what, but I knew that was not true. I started learning a little bit about Gilgamesh and a few other things and thought, well, it's just kind of told down, but didn't understand it completely. However, okay, I haven't told anyone this. I left this out of all my deconversion stories because it is just that embarrassing.
I'm excited.
But I hope that if I put myself out there, you may or may not know. You might know, like, when I'm done, like, you told me a little bit of it, but not the part that I'm about to start at. Scrolling through YouTube, hadn't found Arn Raw yet, hadn't found any atheist activists yet, except for GE. And the only reason I watched him because he would play the guitar and scream at people. And I thought, okay, you are so silly. I just have to listen to you. And he made good points. I didn't agree with all of them, but he was the only one.
Yeah.
However, because he had mentioned a lot, go back to science. Go pick up a 6th grade book, whoever GE was talking to, and start there. And I thought, that's a really good idea. I typed in spirit, and before I could get any further, oh God, people are going to say it in the chat. Spirit science pulled up, and it was like cartoonish little duty dad. Okay, guys. I haven't seen any like dying laughing yet, so maybe they don't know what spirit science is. Spirit science is if what the idea of a cult that checked every single box to make sure it was a cult, just that, had a baby with someone who didn't understand how any of it worked. So he says, all of it works, and let me pretend that I know why. Sacred geometry is true. Christianity is true. This is true. That's true. Everything's true because there's no way to disprove it. That's where I was like, you know what? But I mean, there's other things we can't disprove, like gravity. I knew I understood how basic science work. We have the theory of gravity, but I didn't put them together because the cognitive dissonance was not a comfortable feeling. So I was like, we're going to put this over here. Spirit science had me also believing that the Lord put everything we humans could possibly ever need in nature. All we had to do was find it. I think that we know the data on that. Things evolved, and if they get used and we harvested them, they're still around. Or plants that would get eaten or that could survive were able to reproduce and are still around. If they all died off in a winter snap and there were no seedlings, there's no more plant. So we all here understand how evolution here understood, it is under how to understand it. I was not at the level, well, if evolution's true, why do we still have monkeys? I wasn't there. I thought that was an asinine, thing to understand. However, let me get to the most embarrassing part. I have a lot of very beautiful, semi-precious, and precious stones that have been handed down. I have a ring with a big, like, quartz in it, which, they're not super expensive. However, if you take your ring out in the sun the day after a full moon and you leave it there while it has to be in the east and I don't even remember, to recharge it, because obviously if you're having a bad day, your stones aren't charged enough. People can change. And watching that video, if you have it and you want to link it in the chat, the one that I shared you about the QAnon and ex-QAnon, go into it with an open mind and understand that any human can fall for, if they don't have the right tools, if they don't understand critical thinking, if they don't understand skepticism. It might be 100% true, and I'm almost believing you on some. I could tell anybody that about any particular claim that they make. However, until I have the empirical evidence and can understand it to be true, I have to say I don't know. Even if I'm like, ooh, you're probably right, and what you're saying makes sense. As a skeptic, I've had to be able to be comfortable with saying, I don't know right now. I'm leaning this way, but I could be wrong. So CPAC, I had problems with. It was very hard for me to have those, like, we should open up to them, we should be the, which is really sad, because that same person, me, 2 days later, or the next day, I was still finishing up CPAC last night, watched this with ex-QAnon and thought, you really missed the boat on that. Maybe not the people talking during CPAC. Clearly, they've lost at least the noodle or two, or the marble that's in there is stuck on the noodle. I'm not sure. I'm being hyperbolic. I do not think that they're dumb. I just think they are misinformed and miseducated. I would like to add more humanism to people I disagree with. And I do often. It's very hard for me to listen to any of the speeches at CPAC and think that I could sit down and have a productive conversation with them with no audience. That's sad. Now, if I had a conversation with them, whether it was productive or not, in front of an audience, I know that my conversation with this person isn't about changing that person's mind. It's about the people that are listening and being able to learn something from. And I don't want to count anyone out. I charged my crystals in the sunshine because they needed energy. What the fuck? And I haven't shared that with anyone, so you're welcome. But I felt that it was important while I'm watching the CPAC thinking, yeah, I can't believe you did that. I've had ignoramus beliefs. I've had a friend come over and tell me I can't come into your house because the last time I was here, there are too many things going on inside your house. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, we have cats and kids. And she was like, no, you have a lot of things that have never moved on. Or if this is an ancient burial ground, you have, I can't be in there. I can't. Now, this is before I had found skepticism and after I had let go of spirit science. Like, okay, well, I should sit down and try to debunk this. And I typed in debunking spirit science, and there are more videos there than there are in his collection. And most of them by people I actually knew of, had heard of, and respected. And so I looked them up and fact checked them. It was a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
CPAC was the worst one. I'm not saying the DNZ stuff is any better as far as being anti-war, anti-imperialist, anti-empire. They're the same. Anti-corporate. They're the same. I did not hear any talk like we would hear from Nina saying it's time to get out there and let people know that they're not alone, that we share more things in common, that we can do this even if we disagree. It's our America. And I 100% with everything I am believe that the strongest Trump supporter, the strongest QAnon supporter, still to this day, if neither of us knew anything about those beliefs about each other and we're able to sit down and say, I want to talk about policies, not politics. Nah. Nope, no politicians, nothing. Let's just talk about a few things that would help your family. And let me tell you a few things that would help my family. And let's talk about them. I'm 100%, like I just said, we would agree on way more than we disagreed on. It's about who it's coming from. And I'm not just saying Republicans, they, as in a majority of people who have never had critical thinking and were tribalism, when they hear someone talking like me, let's say I was on their channel, a QAnon's channel, they're going to wait and see what side I'm on. Even if I say something that they're like, oh, I agree with that. And that tribalism is really bad. And that's the people I want to reach, the people that are listening.
Yeah.
I've been thinking since then we should ask somebody who is an ex-QAnon, who is still a QAnon. I want to be really careful. I do not want a conspiracy theory. Obviously, it's a conspiracy theorist. I do not want someone who says things because he wants to make people upset or hurt their feelings. He likes that. He wants to make the libs cry or the libertarian. I don't. That's not what our channel is about. And being humanist does not have anything to do with your ideology, whether it is informed ideology or informed ideology. I would work side by side with MLK and Cornel West and many atheists at the same time working for the same goal. I just would. And so I think it would be important if anybody knows anyone who is, starting to think about these things or is in these things you have to know they are a good person and willing to listen, even if they're not willing to change their mind and they say that from the beginning. Listen, I know what I know. I think that would be important for our channel and for other QAnons to see that it's okay to come out and say that you believe that. I don't agree with you. And if you want to know our reasons why, let's do that next time. Today, let's ask you a whole bunch of questions and welcome them into our community. And that's all I have to say about that. CPAC was an ode to Trump, and it is now Trump's party, which is just a cult. And remember when I said I had a couple hours left to watch?
Yeah.
About, at least last year, I feel like I gained some knowledge into. I don't feel like that. I feel like I'll never get those hours back. I feel like I was at a church where the person that was doing the sermon didn't have any seminary school. He remembers his Bible vacation school and he's using that. It was just bad. Okay, real quick. Fuck, marry, kill.
Oh no.
Ben Shapiro, Donald Trump Jr., and Crowder.
I have to think about this.
Yeah, it's anybody, please put yours. Stacy, hi, you're in the chat. Put your fuck, marry. Who would you fuck? Who would you marry? Who would you kill? Ben Shapiro, Crowder. Oh shit. What was the other one?
Junior.
Yes, and Donald Trump Jr.
All right, I think I got it.
All right, let's hear it.
You had to make them all dudes. Anyways,
I had to. Yes.
So first up, right off the bat, I wouldn't mind arguing with Ben Shapiro for the rest of my life. I would find that as infuriating as it would be, it would also be like almost like ASMR. It would be like real like fun, right? So like,
and you could also hold him by his head, and if he swung, you wouldn't reach him. He wouldn't reach you.
He wouldn't reach me, no.
No.
Because I'm 7 feet tall. For those of you who don't know,
he's a superhero, guys. That's how they come.
Yeah. But yeah. So I guess I would have to marry Ben Shapiro in that.
Okay. All right, I like it.
Yeah.
We're writing this down.
And that was like the first one. Like I thought to him, like, man, I want to argue with him. Well, if I want to argue with him, I might as well marry him, right? Anyways, so okay, then I guess I'd have to fuck Donald Trump Jr. then. I couldn't
marry
do that with Crowder.
Shapiro.
Kill him. If I could say that on YouTube.
You'd fuck Junior. And you'd kill.
I feel like he'd send me some chocolates afterwards.
I mean, if you're good at what you do, yeah.
Well, I am.
Just remember, it's not this one. You go one lower, but it's the same motion.
And see, like
same motion, Mac. That's where the prostate is.
Damn it, Christy.
Hey, listen, science and anatomy is very important.
And see, like, I feel like Crowder would just like act like he's doing it the whole time, and then like be like, haha, I was using a dildo, you're gay. And then pull out another one and say, change my mind.
Yes. I would tell him change my mind all the time.
And I'd have to kill him. So
okay. Yeah. So
thanks for putting me through that, Christy. I really appreciate it.
I have my answers for this.
Yay!
As a gay girl that wouldn't want to do any of these things to any of them. Like, if you put like Common was on here, he would be like the marry and the fuck. And then I would be like, don't ask me anything else. Okay, Shapiro. I would fuck so hard from behind with all kinds of toys, and I would let his friends know so that he couldn't get away with homophobia or have people who followed him who were homophobic because they'd be like, I can't follow him. But, you know, all right.
Okay. Yeah. It would ruin his reputation, I suppose. Yeah.
I think I would marry Donald Trump Jr.
Oh.
I have a good reason. I feel like, I mean, he's scared of his sister. He's scared of his dad. He's scared of everything. That I would make him spend that money appropriately, or he wouldn't be able to touch it. And I would want to keep him close, because if people are talking about he is on like the long list for presidential, no. Mm-mm. And I'll take him with me. I'm not going to prison for murder or murdering him. I'm just saying, like, if we Thelma and Louise that, I'd save the world from that. And kill, if he asks one more person to change my mind and doesn't mean it, someone might just do it. He's like, change my mind. He was like, no, you look too smart. Okay, you're too eager. Which guy doesn't know what he's talking about? That's who I want to talk to.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's a fun one.
if nothing else, I'm glad we both landed with Crowder in the same spot.
Yes. Yes. I do think that.
He's a special kind of asshole.
He really is. He is. I've never heard him have a debate where he was hearing or listening. And we can move on to the next topic, because I don't want to give him any of our time ever. Louder with Crowder, it rhymes, but I would like it silent when it comes to. And maybe it's all just a show. I mean, I could be wrong. You know, I don't know. Rave Dubin got us all wrong. He was like, I'm a progressive. And then
Rave Dubin. Good old
then
Rave.
Money and the Koch brothers. I'm sorry, the Koch brothers. Sorry.
Just slipped out.
It did. It's better than slipping in. Okay, so
Okay.
the next one. And I might have gone way too down, so I just want to make sure. Yes, I did. Biden's bombs. You guys, they have slowed down. They're not Obama. Exactly. Obama. Yes.
Yeah. That was a really bomb punny? Bomb pun?
That was a bomb ass pum, yo.
There you go. Thanks, Christy.
You're welcome.
You saved it.
He was the drone king more than the president before him. But you got to understand also, technology has changed, and a lot more funding was given to those programs. And Obama just said it's safer. Excuse me. I just have. Next time, I just might give you guys a burp that's like on a 1 to 10, like a 9. Watch it be like a 2. Never mind. Anyway, I'm not as talented as my wonderful wife. She can say, I love you. The whole thing during a burp. I fell in love right then and there. Okay, so his bombs. Underneath Trump, Obama's bombing, which Obama did start new wars. When Saudi came in to visit Obama, they came in and had this private meeting, and by the time they left, Obama was having a conference and a news conference saying the Saudis have to do this. They have to protect their sovereign land. They're being attacked and blah blah blah. It sounded like a newsletter from Netanyahu about Palestinians throwing rocks So we had to take out their knee with a 50 caliber. Like that's how it sounded. Well, as bad as Obama's bombing was, Trump upped it 470% within the first 6 months of his presidency. And it stayed that way. Now, the generals at the very top were told by Trump in the beginning, I don't want to see these briefings. I don't care about them. If I have to know something before I go on a brief conference, then let me know, and I'll refer them to you. You know, that's your job, and you do not need any of my permission per action that you take. You guys are out there, which they do deserve a modicum of trust, but we have a system set up for checks and balances. Now, the reason why we have private militias and private militaries like Blackwater, I wonder if anyone can give me a proper answer why it would be beneficial for the United States government and the military industrial complex to not want to see private military go. Because if you answer that right, then you've been listening, and I'm so proud of you. And you're informed, and not just to me, to like the actual truth of what's going on. My answer to that is going to be my opinion of what the truth is. And the truth, real quick, is a private company, as we found out recently with Twitter and Facebook. We all have friends who have been banned and or told they're in timeout because they said some word. I'm sorry, they didn't even say them. They typed some words that someone said, "Can you believe this?" And instead of just blocking that person or asking them why and how did they come to this conclusion, they just report them. Well, under this climate of cancellation and we're losing the ability to have conversations about the things that matter. And you might think they don't matter, but if it offends you that much that you have to get someone's channel taken away, then obviously it does matter. And then to have Trump up them 460, 480 and higher percent and never stopped that, it never slowed down. Biden came in and slowed it down a little bit, and he is being praised for that a little bit, not as much as Obama. So we didn't approve of Obama and his bombs, his freedom bombs and democracy rockets and carpet bombs that do not come in and clean your carpet for you and then leave. It's nothing like that. Carpet bombs are internationally a war crime, and we helped write that law. However, the only nation on this planet that I know of and could find that manufacture carpet bombs is right here inside the continental US. I know. I know. That's I want to love you, America, and I do. And the American people, oh, yes. But those type of things, that's really hard to get over. So those bombs.
Who is the manufacturer who does that? Do you remember?
Name one. Oh, the carpet bombs? There were two, and now there's one because it's not Raytheon, but Raytheon's very involved in funding war crimes. Yeah, look up American weapons manufacturer that makes weapon carpet bombs. Abby Martin did a pretty investigative, and Robbie Martin did a pretty detailed investigation into this particular bomb and why it's illegal. Of course, it hurts the least among them, as always. I don't want to live in a nation where the leaders of the nation look at another nation and say, they have a lot of resources there. We used to be able to get most of them. Now, since they had a democratically elected leader or the people chose, fucking democracy, I guess we're going to have to overthrow him or her, because if they nationalize the oil, the water, the gold, the cobalt, the lithium, if they do that to benefit their people, then our corporation can't solely own it and be the beneficiaries of it. So let's completely starve that nation. Let's do sanctions so that basic medication for cancer, for throat cancer, you know that little thing that like goes on your throat if you had throat cancer and you can't talk anymore, so it helps them talk. It's like, hi, my name is. I can't imagine having to use one of those. It would be really sad. But what would be sadder? I know that's not a word. More sad is proper grammar. But sometimes it's sadder, okay? What would be more sadder is if you've been able to communicate your whole life and now you can't. You have to write everything down because in your country, that little thing that costs like, $4 or $5 to buy, and then the thing that comes with it is another $10 so that you could charge the different batteries. They're not allowed to have those. Gasoline and fuel, not allowed to have those. So with gas shortages, food shortages, and not just like all food at once, it will be, we can only get rice from this country. So we'll have rice for 2 weeks, and then for 2 weeks after that, we'll probably have potatoes from this country. And like, they're trying their best. And those countries that are bringing in those foods, they're facing retribution from the empire. Now, Biden's okay with that too. Biden recognizes Juan Guaido as the president of Venezuela, just like Nancy Pelosi and her 2 Viking fridge. Yes. We do have a lot of work to do. I would like to say that even though I don't approve of 90% of the actions Biden has taken when it comes to foreign policy, I do agree with his take on what he is doing for indigenous lands and how we might have an interior secretary, the very first ever, who is Native American, indigenous to this land after what, 400 years, 200 years, way too long. We are making steps, and I will take tiny and incremental steps over going backwards any day. And then I want to add, we're going to feel like it's not fast enough. We're going to feel like I'm over it. This is all we talk about, and nothing is changing. I also want to talk about that feeling fatigued and like, I just want to not do politics, or I don't want to change the world for a week or two. That's fine. Take a week off, but set your alarm and pay attention, like, at least to the basics. Do like 4 or 5 minutes in the morning of just kind of like some headlines from the day before. Just because you don't want to be like, when did that happen? And I'll speak for myself. 2008, Obama won. I could go back to doing what I needed to do. And then the pipeline thing happened. And I haven't been able to go back to what I want to do when fascism is at our door. Now, I did want to, let's go over here. Oh goodness. I do know how to computer a little bit. Okay. Also, Biden's bombs are from the same exact policies that have not changed at all. The only thing that has changed is the new president is in. So all of those nations that were being bombed or supported are still being bombed or supported. All of the militias, bad guys, and war criminals or war lords in Afghanistan are still doing what they do. So,
Right. Yeah, nothing's
yeah.
changed. We haven't changed our position on anything, meaning we haven't changed our strategy on anything.
Right.
That this might be a good note. I do need to go a little
Okay.
early, so
Yeah, that works out fine because I only have one more and you can pass the lasagna. Hold on, look. Nanu, nanu. Hold on.
Is it?
I can
What's
do
the
it with
song?
this hand. Perfect. And I'm not left-handed. It's just I'm too fancy. My fancy pinky has to come out. Just showing off. Yeah, my last one is for-profit detention. Where Bean isn't barking. So he heard you were leaving and he sat. At least that's the story I'm sticking with. It's not the door that someone was there.
Right.
Today is 90 weeks before you leave.
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome.
I know it really is.
I saw your post last week and I commented on it, but that's amazing.
It's
so cool.
It's hard to tell, but it is silver to about right here in the front.
Yeah.
But this is also the shortest piece, so.
Yeah. That's so
cool. When it becomes a 2 year, when it's 2 years, I'll be really excited, which isn't too long from now. So if you need to go, say your lovely things to our lovely humans that we couldn't do this without, which is me and Naja, of course. Oh.
Thank you for being awesome. Thanks everyone for coming. I really appreciate it. I know Christy and Nacha do as well. Remember, we will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. But after that, we're going to like a fortnightly schedule. Yes. So we love you guys. Thank you for everything you do, just showing up, being here, being awesome. We really appreciate it. Please give Christy your full attention as she talks about for-profit detention. I hope she's going to go over some of the stuff that Biden's changing and all the stuff he's not changing with that. So it's some good fun, not as fun as it sounds kind of shit.
They love it.
Yeah, they love it. Thank you guys. We love you. Stay humanist, and I'm out.
Pasta la vista, baby.
Pasta la pasta.
I burped into the word. I'm so cool. Stacey's not even here. Hopefully she's watching it because like she wouldn't believe me. She says, "I love you, Chris," and then can't say the teen part, but she's working on it.
We now have video proof.
So talented. It's so dreamy. Okay. So guys, I did want to say, yes, we're going to every other Friday night as far as the LEAH show. That doesn't mean that you won't see us throughout the week. We will be adding things to the community part of our YouTube channel, polls. You know how I get where I kind of stumble on something and I'm like, okay, so I spent the last 6 hours learning about something and I don't want to stop. So I'm going to just dive in and then you'll see me going, okay, so this is something I found and I'm super excited about it. And I can't wait to share it with you. Things like that. If you guys want to see Mr. Bean or Delilah and Monkey loving each other so much that you might throw up or get a cavity because it's so cute. I will share those. Pippa, flipping around and being cute. And our orange ginger boy. He's the only boy cat. We have a boy cat and a boy dog and 3 girl cats. And then a mom and a daughter. So Bean and Bubby are on their own as far as the male thing goes. In this house, everyone's equal under me. No, under Bean and Delilah is what it really is. And shorts are the short videos that I was just talking about. You'll be able to find those on community We would love to see some of your interaction. If you want to DM me on any ideas you have with polls, because I immediately thought, oh my goodness, okay. Do you think communism and socialism is ... A, authoritarian? Maybe, like I would be curious to see, because many people besides our viewers will see those polls, and I run into more people than not. I would say out of every 10 people I talk to any kind of political ideology with, communism is a authoritarianism. And yes, we don't have a community section yet. We need to hit a 1,000 first. I'm just saying it's exciting and it's on its way. It's right around the corner. If everyone shares our content with 1 or 2 people, you don't have to make a sock account and fakely do it. We really we want the real ones here. And you guys who have been here, for us just nonstop, I want to say thank you so much. A lot. I know I'm a goofball a lot, and I know that I'm a big, sensitive, sissy crybaby when it comes to human rights. Actually, I'm not sorry for that. I'm just not. I here's a for instance, watching the news 4 days ago, 5 days ago, in the morning, and it's between the African coast and Italy. Now, if you're a political junkie like me, you know that people are fleeing with the clothes on their back and their children in their arms, and they're just trying to get out. So they're getting in a blow up boat that should hold maximum of 15 to 25 people, and it has 120, 130. And many of these women and men have their infant children. So when they start to sink, which is inevitable, there's moms holding their baby in the air, treading with one arm till it gets tired, and another one, treading with another one, until rescue shows up. Want to hear something though? It's illegal for the nation of Italy, for any of their members, their citizens, I want to say, not members, citizens, to help these human beings. They're not military, they're not warlords, they're fleeing the warlords. They're just looking for a better life. They're you and me and my brother and sister and my aunts and uncles and my cousins and my friends upstairs and my friends everywhere. The GPA location of your mother's vagina on the day you were born does not make you superior or less than anyone else. So when I watch news that say, at this time, this far into the year, which is January, February, March, 3 months, we know for a fact that at minimum 20,000 lives have been lost because of this journey. Not because we don't know they're making this journey, not because we cannot help them by just showing up, making sure they get on, we have enough food for them, and getting to the nations where they can apply for asylum. No, it would be better to just this, la 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 la, and this. I'm listening to this story, and if Stacy hadn't been right next to me, I mean, I couldn't even talk. It's hysterical. Those are the people we know. Now, there are private groups who, on donations only, it takes them 10 days. So for 10 days, there's 2 groups that go out. One's out for 10 hours, one's getting ready for 10 hours. It takes 10 hours to get ready. Well, there are enough blankets for everyone, enough food for everyone, enough water for everyone, enough tissues for everyone, enough hand sanitizer for everyone, enough toilet paper for everyone, a toothbrush, just basic things, because when you get them, It's not just going to be like, we're back on land. They're going to need things, especially a meal. Baby formula and diapers have to be on board. A woman tread and tread and tread water until she just couldn't hold her arm open up anymore. And someone who was with her treading water said, you know, ma'am, I will hold. And he kind of rolled it up, kind of like a stork would carry a baby. And he tried it. And when people are in danger and they're in it together, you can see humanity come out. You can also see dog eats dog. But I like to see and I like to think that for the most part, people jump into action and you know, I can't do everything. I'm dying here too, but I can help you rest your arms. That baby didn't make it, and many others didn't also. And the 20,000 is the only thing that we have documented, and there's no way it's only 20,000. And just the thought of knowing, and then I put myself in their shoes and say, if we knew Cuba was cutting girls' clits off, kidnapping 300 girls at a time, journalists, especially women journalists, were being murdered because they need to get back in the kitchen. What's the dishwasher doing out of the kitchen? You know, she's not making sandwiches and she's not taking your orders. So, I needed a little comedic break for a minute there. Yeah, Stacy knows that it just breaks my heart, and she knows how to hold me. And instead of saying like it's gonna be okay, it's not. She doesn't say that. She's like, grab a tissue, you know, and I got you. I know it fucking sucks. These people are animals. Now, yes, every single one of them is black and all these gorgeous, beautiful tones of black and dark and beautiful black. Okay, like you're making a statement. Next, and they have names. Would you like to give them? They have heights and weights. Like, I don't. Let's move on from that. It's a human. And if Cuba was doing these genocidal things and human rights abuses so bad that we had, and we knew it, 20,000 every 5 weeks dying out there, I know people that have just regular sized boats that would say, okay, well, we can do 1 weekend a month and let's go out there on our own dime. Because if nobody's going to do it, then they're going to die. Okay, that being said, these groups that spend 10 days preparing and 10 days out to rescue, they have no support except for donations. It is all done on their own dime. They bust ass at work so that they can spend their entire paycheck to help get these people who are going to drown in the middle of the ocean. They can't swim forever, and there's no way to get there without one. When I found out that particular story with the woman holding her baby above her head and then someone asking if they could help, and then she took the baby back too, she didn't make it either. The entire time this is going on, now the rescue boat finding the one that's, you know, deflating and going under and helping getting everyone on, there are helicopters above them, Italian helicopters above them, just watching. With at any time could have helped. I don't want to be a part of a society that knows regular people, just regular everyday people like you and me, their only chance for a better life is to a 50-50 chance they'll die. That's desperate. That's what immigration and that's why we have these laws. And I know that's just a little tiny bit off of, oh, I pushed a button I shouldn't have, but welcome to being non-technical. Okay, where's my arrow? Arrow. Do you call it? Does it come faster? Hey, Stacy, if you find my arrow, I'll be your best friend. Just kidding, I found it. Oh, wait, I just don't know how to use it. Okay. And those are my Biden bombs, and I thought it fit right in with, there's a lot of news this week. I thought it was almost imperative to tell you about that. Look into the rescuers between the African countries and Italy, and I mean, they could use anything. If you don't want to give money, give old t-shirts, give shoes. These people have had no shoes. They've traveled, their shoes fell apart, they got them both, they have no shoes. These people need humanists in their life more than they need skeptics. Our QAnon people need skeptics. These people just need to know that people around the world are watching and that we care about the outcome. I care about the outcome. Our last topic is for-profit detention. And I've talked about that. Max talked about that. We've discussed it at length. I would like to talk to you about Biden's for-profit detention centers for migrants and their children, aka Trump's cages for children, aka many of them that were built in 2014 when who was president? Right. Because a government is never one thing. Each state, I mean, I live in a very blue county. However, the state I live in is federally controlled from the top down. Very conservative. DeSantis and what's the other guy's name? Boo? Do you remember? I can't remember. Mark Rubio. Yeah, that's us. Well, that being said, we have for-profit prisons in Florida, and there had been a few for-profit prisons that under Trump were protested so bad that they had, you know, kind of like, okay, it's too open, too many people can see what we're doing in here. Let's just kind of renovate it. And that's what they did. They renovated this particular one. I would implore you to look up Biden's Kids in Cages, which is hyperbole, of course, but it's to get clicks. But I also don't disagree with it. It depends on your definition of a cage. My definition of a cage in this case is it costs $775 or more per day per kid in a detention for profit. Now that profit isn't going back to the government, but the government is subsidizing these for-profit prisons. So when the for-profit prison contract comes to the state to sign, they sign it saying that we need 99% bed capacity. If at any time we do not have that, you will pay us as if we do. Therefore, the state's incentive is to not pay for something that no one's getting, but to get bodies in those beds and bags, unfortunately. Because when there's a profit motive, I don't need to say anything more. You guys are smart enough. I hope at least half of you have watched a documentary called The 13th Amendment. The cover of the documentary is just kind of bland white with a man walking with black and white striped jumper on, like he's in prison with a ball and chain, I think, and the 13th is written across it. If you haven't, DM me. I will send you it for free and you can watch it so your heart's content. It's very fascinating. And if you do not know what Amendment 13 is, you definitely need to watch this. And if you did not know how or why the 13th was written and what the underbelly of it was. What was the reason it had to pass? What are the things they added to it at the end? Like we're finding out with any bills, people, especially people who have just started paying attention to politics. There's always more to it. They always throw more into it. And it's important, so important, the year that was passed, what was going on. And I don't want to ruin it. I would really prefer you guys watch it and then, you know, send me a message. Hey, I just watched it. And we can talk about that. And I think that's great. I would have conversation with any of you lovely humans about anything, but especially, you know, things like that. I would like for everyone here to be able to name the amendments and to know how many we have, to know how and who their local representative is. And those things are important. I have to say, not 10 years ago at 34, but 20 years ago at 24, I wouldn't have said any of those. I just wouldn't have. I wasn't thinking that. So if anyone ever runs across any of our stuff, and maybe they're listening to this right now and they're like, I just can't do the politics anymore. I don't really care for politics either. What I do care for is our democracy. Because it is of, by, and for we the people. If we the people do not get and stay involved, other people will become we the people. There will always be people ready to step in. I think that it would be better off if it was regular people running for these seats. So if there's a seat open and the person that's doing it, you're looking at like, I could do it better than you. Who cares if you have any experience? Who cares if you win? It's about getting out there and letting people know that there are other options. I think that as far as the people that I've listened to, whether they won or they didn't, it was a learning curve. And if it wasn't for that loss or that win, they wouldn't be where they are today, which anyone can say about anything. So I know that that's just flowery words. However, I do think that it is good experience to run locally. And don't you reside locally? It's going to affect you personally. Okay. These for-profit detentions, however, are for migrant children, you know, under the age of 18. Now, when they're 18, are they allowed to leave? Ask me if they're allowed to leave at all. Are they allowed to leave? Thank you, Stacy. No, they're not. That's the cage. You know, a lot of jails around the country are done kind of like dormitories, especially the non-violent supermax ones. You can walk around, you can go outside, you can play on the, you know, you can have a shower whenever you want, even though everyone else can see you taking a shower. But you can't leave. That's jail. And this is even if they have family already established in the state. Or who cares? Say they're not established. They're working 3 or 4 jobs and they're barely making it. It will cost American taxpayers $775 per day to put them in a private detention center. Who benefits? That private corporation, the CEO, the owner, not the people at the bottom, the guards. The guards are making minimum wage is what they start at and up. Many of them have been doing this for 20 years and they're making killer money. They're probably very jaded at this point. I can't. Dealing with humans, whether you're buying or selling them, it is being involved in slavery. So being involved with humans that are being locked up And then governments are paying private companies to keep them housed. The only people that benefit from that are the private corporations and private prisons. So I started thinking, why would the government do that? They're not making anything off of it. And it brings me back around to private militias and private militaries like Blackwater. Our government doesn't gain a dime off of this. There have been many men and women who have been in our armed forces, whether it's the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, the Marines, Navy. I think I already said that. Even the Coast Guard, even police officers who, for whatever reason, were dishonorably discharged. Now, I have met people and have people in my life throughout my life who have had a dishonorable discharge. And every individual story is different. And some of them will make your blood boil because you're like, oh, really? And other ones you're like, wow, I can't believe you got away with it that long. And you should not be in a position of power. So no blanket statements there, none at all. But the people who are making money is not our government. So the people of this nation are paying their taxes that are going to pay for that. So we are paying for it. However, the only people that are profiting are these 4 private detention centers. A militia, same thing. Now, militias might be private and might get a lot of funding from PACs and from dark money, but in general, they're subsidized by taxpayer money. Why, you might ask? Because they can do, have done, are doing, and will continue doing either straight up war crimes or to the line of war crime and like sticking just one toe over and touching. Now, our troops couldn't do this, wouldn't do this without, hopefully, being called out or having to be court-martialed and brought in for war crimes. We've signed treaties. They're the Geneva Convention. Now, a private company is different, just like our private companies when it comes to social media, which I believe should be a public service. There is nothing good about putting a profit motive on locking away and taking away the freedoms of our fellow humans, our fellow Americans, for those of you who, still have that thing you can't let go of Americans are the best. If you've never left America, then probably don't say that. I haven't, and I know better because I haven't been everywhere. I would like us to try better. What I'm having a massive problem with is Biden signed a lot of things recently that I thought, yes, incremental steps, I'll take them. We've moved back so far that I understand voting for Biden for 98% of the people that did was not a vote for Biden. It was a vote against Trump. I get it. We can't go to sleep now. We can't. If we fell asleep after Obama, I'll speak for myself, which I know many others have because we've had conversations about it. I just got back to my, what I wanted to do and whatever, he'll taking care of it. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. He did bad things. The Tea Party happened. And so then the midterms happened and the House and the Senate turned red. And so no more passing anything. And And that's not the only reason. There was, it's nuanced. But private prisons, I would even have a debate with someone who agreed with them and would want to convince me of them. That's how convinced I am and how confident I am with the information that I have, the data that I have, the stats that I have, and the damage that has been proven that it causes, that it is wrong. Now, habeas corpus, it was part of our Constitution. It was something to be prideful of. Not one person would go to jail and not get his day in court. I almost want to add, not that you guys don't know, I understand there are lots of areas in this nation where many people, especially the least among us, wouldn't get a fair trial. And if they didn't, their family can appeal and ask for a trial of their peers. These are not things that were afforded before. So to be that nation that comes out and helps win World War II, which I'm not romanticizing, I'm just saying was a part of that, and then helped the empires that existed divide up all this land and say, hey, Palestinians, I know it's gonna suck. However, this is Jew land now. And if you don't like it, sucks. You're probably gonna lose your house. I'm only laughing because I would cry if I didn't. We helped that. There are costs to all that. There's a lot of cost to all that. And I think that we're seeing a lot of that now. And we're seeing also a full circle. And Biden supports this. A full circle of a Jewish people who got their own land, their own nation, and were doing amazing things. I mean, to this day, they get between, it was when it started 8 million a day, it's $11 million a day, every single day of American taxpayer money. They have healthcare for all, dental for all, vision for all, education for all, but not for all, for Israelis. So it's the same as when George Washington was writing, I, do declare that all men henceforth were created equally. And as he's writing these epic words that give us goosebumps, he has a slave behind him who, I'm sure as he's writing, can you bring me a candle? Can you do this? Can you make me some food? He also, in his later years, spent a good fortune, quite a fortune, chasing down slaves that had rebelled and got away because he was older and couldn't do anything about it. And he just, on principle, they couldn't. So our founding was started by people who didn't even look at men who were black and brown as humans, because they wrote as our founding documents that all men under their or his or her creator, her or woman is not mentioned once in there, but you don't see me crying about it. I mean, it's a brewery now. I'm just saying, I'm being a dick. And then just like, he said this with slaves. He said this knowing that he didn't feel the same about Puerto Rico and wanted to take over the Puerto Rico's Cuba, and that did happen later. Just kind of just go out and conquer became all the things that the Americans didn't want. There are a few that wanted it, and that's why they came here. But for the most part, people fled around the world to get here because they were tired of that. They didn't want a monarchy. They didn't want a king. They wanted democracy. And they wanted a leader who says, all men are created equal. These will be our documents, that what our nation stands for, to actually mean what they say. And I believe that all men were evolved equally wonderful. Like maybe some evolved because they're in a dry climate different than me, or they evolved with a little bit more evolution underneath their belt. They're not growing in any wisdom teeth. There's so many people growing humans growing today that are growing one or two, maybe, or none. That's insane. That means there's less room in here and more room for our brain. And if you look at our brain over the past 1,000 years, it just has gotten significantly bigger. This, don't know if you can see this thing sticking out. That is a residual. It is not needed anymore. But when we climb trees, apparently I come from a long line of really good tree swingers. So and another one that would show how evolution is happening right now is people who are not lactose intolerant. I could have cereal for breakfast, a yogurt for a snack. I could have ice cream for dessert and pizza for dinner and milk and cookie. Like it's not gonna bother me. So maybe I don't have it all. I'm still Neanderthal in some areas. And then I know Mac wants me, he did send me something saying he wants to hear all about this spirit science. Okay, if you guys look up spirit science on YouTube, it's okay to laugh at me because I've watched it since I've years later, 2 years later, 3 years later, and I had a headache from all the face pulling I had to do, like, but then I saw how many people follow. And so maybe it would be a good idea if you guys are comfortable with having conversations with people who are going to be offended if you tell them what they believe is wrong. So maybe listen to some Anthony Magnabosco first and go in with questions. And if you find one that actually just wants to know the right thing, tell them about our channel and that we would love to have them on and that we would not make them feel bad. And we can talk about spirit science. If you would like to get the guy that does spirit science, I have to put my foot down. I feel that he is a grifter. He has been called out. He knows that there's nothing to back that up and doesn't care because it's his living. I could be wrong about this. This is what I read in a source that I care about, the newsletter from somebody I actually trust. And I don't think that I'm strong enough to be that one. It would have to be a Magnabosco or a Arn Ra. Not somebody that cries because people don't make it over a raft to get here. One more thing on that. If you have a way or means to help someone, I'm not saying let them take advantage of you. You know, you're walking by someone, it's really hot, and you have a water, a banana, and a granola bar, and you're on your way home. You could eat those things, but you just didn't end up eating them at work. You ate something else. And you're at a red light. There's nothing wrong with giving them a banana, a granola bar, or a water, or 3, or 2, or 1. And if you expect someone to be like, I can't believe you did that, or clapping your hands, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Just put yourself in their shoes. I can't imagine not knowing if I will eat this week. And that's how a lot of people are what they're going through. And it's even worse for those who are risking their infant's life just to make it better, just to have a world where they are not going to be murdered tomorrow or tonight, for sure. In a place where if they are murdered, it's less likely. Like those are their options. So when we say we have to vote against less evil, we're very privileged to come from, for our mothers' vaginas to be in the GPS location they were. That doesn't make us better or more special. It just makes us more fortunate and privileged. And when a human is fortunate and privileged and informed, it is your responsibility to at least help as much as you can. And yes, I would like to start wrapping up. I will take the first 3 questions as silly as they are or as serious they are, and that is it. And then I'm going to do some really good coverage of some stuff with having 2 weeks in between and little shorts that we'll put out in between. But you got to get us to 1,000 first, because I wanted to cover Haiti. You guys remember that? I wouldn't have been able to do it justice. And I want to do it justice. I want to do everything that I do when it comes to another country that many of us here in the States do not understand or cannot wrap our minds around. Okay. I think Clockwork Rex just asked think. And maybe there was a question mark after it, or maybe it's a hashtag. I think he's asking, do I think? Hold on, I'm trying. No, it's not what I do. Okay. I don't think there's, you're not dumb for believing in it. Oh, Rex, you're sweet. No, I don't think people are dumb for believing in stuff like that. I just think, I watched a girl who was 23, 24 years old go from a parent to parents who were hovering helicopter parents and were so devastated when she went into hair school, because that's not a real job, that's a service job. And what else do you want to go to college while you're going? I mean, that's a cool job to have while you're in college, because you can have a real job instead of just a fast food job. And then she started tattooing everywhere. I mean, everywhere. And so when she does modeling shoots, she looks like the Suicide Girls. Beautiful, tall, can sing, can play instruments, very talented, but very, very evangelical Christian. Tattoos are a form of writing your own ticket to hell. And then when it's your own daughter, it's like, well, is it, or is it art form? And she let go of her parents' religion, but she filled it with the first thing she found that felt right, that didn't have God involved, and it was sacred geometry, palm reading, seances. I want to say witchery and witchcraft, but I mean, it doesn't make her any smarter or any dumber. It makes her trying to figure out this world. And if I would have had someone who was skeptical at that time of my life, treat me how a Magna Bosco does, and just, well, how do you know that works? I wouldn't have an answer. And I don't like that feeling. It's a cognitive dissonance immediately. And if I couldn't find anything to show him or the person, or what I could find was by bad sources, then I would be introduced to bad sources. And I maybe would have started way, way earlier on this journey. That pebble, that seed in my shoe would have got watered by those questions. And so, let's not, moral of tonight, crystals and gemstones do not charge in the sun. Okay. However, If you go outside and clean them with a toothbrush and some Dawn and the hose and let them sit in the sun until they dry, that's okay and good. But what I found out is after you do that and you take a blow dryer to it, hot, cold, it takes all the spots off. So obviously the fairies and the magic outside doesn't even know how to dry stones right. So it took science to do that too. And the other one was, let's not write off all of the QAnon and Trumpers yet. Let's just not. It's a cult. Many of them are walking away from it. Today could have been January 6th squared, because yesterday was the day that Donald Trump was supposed to take over the presidency. When that didn't happen, of course, on QAnon sites now they're saying, yeah, it did. Why do you think he doesn't take off his mask? That's Trump. I'm like, and that part of my brain is like, yeah, have one of those on, you'll have fun. But I don't want to make fun of them. I don't want to do that. I want to make it better. So I hope you guys do too. And let me just check in case nobody asked any questions, because Smitty did. What's it say, boo boo?
How do you prefer to die?
How do I prefer to die? That's a great question.
Well, it says more than that. You have to go back and read.
All right, well, where is it? He put my name in it because he was so smart. Assuming you don't dig out that micro SD and listen to a Game of Thrones on audiobook, what method of death would you prefer? Well, first of all, listening to books is not going to kill me. I really like that. But I would prefer, if I could choose anything, I would have seen my grandchildren have babies and got to hold them and not be in so much pain. I know it's only going to get worse, but I still have dreams that it only hurts as bad as it does now because I take care of myself. And I know that's not what he asked. That's what I'm getting to. If I'm in a lot of pain, it would be a different time that I would want to die. But my dream would be to have the same amount of pain I'm dealing with now so that I could at least go through basic life and be able to enjoy my grandchildren and Stacy, just the basic fun things in life, and then go to sleep and not wake up with my affairs in order. Everyone knows what I want. I want to be creamized. I want to be creamized. It's new and y'all know about it, okay? Cream me, hit me. No, I want to be cremated. I cannot sit in a box. I did one MRI and I was like, that will never happen again, especially if I don't want it. A tree or the coral, there's a few different options to put your body. You want to say hi? Yes. Hold on, let's turn it up. I cut all her hair off too, but it's still long. She's feeling herself. Get out of here. You're too cute. You're making me look old. Be more. Oh, I love you. Okay. And so, good question. I would want to go in my sleep. I would. Anyone who on a Friday says, you're not live tonight. If you want to message me and, entertain me for an hour. Okay, I probably won't do that. But if you have a couple questions that you want me to answer, or if you have a couple questions that you would like me to go find the answers for you because you're having a hard time, I will provide where I got it from. And then we can talk about that. Or maybe you guys could entertain me on a Friday night, or my woman slash by law wife, because after 7 years it's called common law wife. She'll have me on a Friday night once in a while. So date night. We can practice on that baby. Practice makes perfect. Okay. And we are still getting together each week at the same time, guys. So we'll be talking about things and having a meeting of the minds. And we would like to, once we get to 1,000, also add more for our Patreons, because it's YouTube is really slow. I knew you guys like, shut up, but I had to. It is really slow. A couple of our personal friends had passed 1,000 and then passed another one and had to actually inquire why they didn't have it, and it had nothing to do with them being an atheist or skeptic channel, I'm sure, but we'll make it happen, especially if we have you guys' help. So if we reach 1,000 and we don't have that little thing popping up saying super chat or be able to do our community or anything else, we're going to need all of you guys to message and say, listen, this needs to happen, or else shake your fist. Okay, just a finger. It's way less threatening. Or else it's more like a grandpa. And I love you guys. And Christy, I would hope they can look that good when they reach the age you were 10 years ago. Okay, special points for purple rhymes with orange. And purple does rhyme with orange, you guys. Maybe not here or in our language, but somewhere in somebody's language. The name makes me laugh. Anyway, my dad's here. I want to say hi. We have new people, these weekly chats. And who is Nacha? Nacha Witness is our producer. He's behind the scenes. He lives in Australia, so far away. Mac and I could not do what we want to do and the way we want to do it as much as we want. We're just follow your passion. It's religion and politics and everything in between. And Nacha has a channel. So you guys should check that out, because not only is he doing this here, he's helping other people, not just us. He is I don't even know. He's just a humanist to the core. He sees friends or people that he hasn't even made friends with. They're just new in his life and he kind of digs them. He likes what they stand for. And he can help. He offers his help and then shows up. And that's how we're here every week, because if it wasn't for him, Mac and I would be Morse coding this stuff out to you. Doop, 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 doop. Once we learned Morse code without video. Yes, thank you, Nacha. Everyone should say thank you to Nacha, because we really couldn't do this. Boobs for Nacha, which we're live, so it's not boobs for chat. My dad is in the chat and he is not trying to see that. Stacey's like, yeah. No boobs for Nacha. Okay, Christy, I'm going to use that in my novel now. Please do. And 10 years ago, I was 34. Yeah, that's crazy. It is. It is. Actually, a friend of ours was over yesterday, and I asked her how old she was when she was born. I was like, what was it, 80, 89, something like that? And she said 94. And I said, I was class of 95. And she just wasn't expecting it. And then my reply was, I would have been powdering your bottom, like, and babysitting you, and here you are driving me to the head shop. It's amazing. So, I love you guys. Thanks for letting us do this. I say this all the time, and I mean it. You guys ever have an issue or a topic or a policy or anything that has to do with religion or politics or atheism or humanism or court case, anything like that, history, listen. And you want to know more about it, and you would like for me to do all the research and be able to tell you guys about it, it would be my pleasure. It would be my pleasure. And especially because I know that you will be excited to hear, and other people will learn too. So there's so much to learn around this world, and there's so much I don't know. And the more I learn, the more I realize there's even more I don't know. So I wish I had that thing in my brain I could hit, like, you have too many screenshots. You can delete, make room for new stuff. That would be awesome. So is a thing on my channel. Okay. Well, I'm slow, Nacha. Not as slow as some, but slow. It's even a song. Well, now I'm gonna need to hear the Who Is Nacha song. I'm gonna demand it before I die. And then if there's nothing else, anything, oh, your mother's still 93 and living on her own. What a strong, independent woman, human. That's pretty awesome, Purple. You should cherish that, because I don't think I'll be alive at that age. My cat doesn't either agree. And we do have to cut it off because our Nacha is a very important guy tonight. And I don't really know what he has, but I'm sure it's a lot better than listening to me ramble on. So I'm going to tell you guys something, and I mean it, or else, okay? Stay humanist, for godless sakes. And the reason is in the statement. And I love you guys. And I will look forward to any suggestions you guys have, any questions you have, DM them right at me. If they're for Mac, you can DM them at me. I'll get to him faster than he will. And if you just want to say hi, message me on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, or you can leave a message underneath one of these videos. And if you would like to be on our show or share a topic, let us know. We would love to have you on. I have 3 people in mind that I'm working on right now. Names to be determined. I love you guys. Be safe. Wear your mother freaking mask when you're outside. Wash your hands. Don't wipe other people's butts. What was the other one? Wear a condom. And I love you guys. No,